Good morning, boys and girls. I'm happy to see you and welcome back to our art class. I just wanted to review what it was that we were talking about the last week. The purpose of our lesson was to create space using color and to create space using scale or size. You say scale. Very good. And scale means the size of something, right? So right here we have large clouds, we have smaller clouds as you go further back into the distance, and we were creating this seascape, and we were trying to show that this was a three-dimensional space, and that this space outside had distance, right? When there is space, it creates distance. And so we were focusing on certain parts of our drawing or our painting. We had if you remember, say it. This part of our picture plane or of our page is called the what? Good. If you said the foreground, you're correct. You say foreground. Good. The foreground is the part that we could jump into, the part that is closest to us as the viewer. Right here, we're not at the bottom, we're not at the top of the piece, we're at the what? Very good. If you said middle ground, you're correct. Foreground, middle ground. You say foreground, middle ground. Good. And all the way up here at the top of our picture plane would be the background. You say background. Good, background. So we have three parts to our composition or to our drawing, and we were making this seascape, which is a picture of the sea or the ocean, and that's my favorite place to be, and some of you told me that that's your favorite place to be as well, so that made me happy. But right here, this is a horizontal line that we drew with our crayons or our color pencils or whatever it was that we were using. And this horizontal line has a special name. It's not just a horizontal line anywhere. When the horizontal line is showing where the sun sets or rises, it is called the horizon line. You say, horizon line. Very good. So we have our parts to our seascape, and those parts help us to know where to put things to create that space, that distance, that three-dimensional space, right? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to continue today, and I told a lot of you on the Google Classroom that we were going to focus on finishing touches today. And what does that mean? That just means that you have to judge your own work, right? So you have to sit back and look at your piece and critique it. Now, I know that we haven't had a critique line in a very, very long time since we're in our classroom. But if you remember back to critique line, you'd come in and we would take several pieces of your artwork and we would put them up on the clothesline, right? And then we would talk about it. And we would say what could be worked on, what was working, what wasn't working very well, or not showing what the artist wanted to show very well. And we could work on it and finish it up and put in our finishing touches, right? Just little details here and there or little corrections that we can make to improve the look of our piece, right? To make it the very best that we can make it, because we always want to be very proud of our work, and the only way that we can be proud of what we do is if we do our best, right? And show our very best. So let me just take this piece down, and I wanted to show you one more piece that I painted as well. And the reason that I'm showing you my paintings is because I want you to see that all of those artist tools that we use and we learn about, texture, value, color, line, shape, all of those are artist tools. They're in our minds, and when we know them, we can apply them and we can use them to help us create our artwork to the best of our ability, or however it is that we want to convey or show our work. And so I wanted to show you that it's not just with crayons or markers that we can make our artwork, and you can create things that you didn't think you could. So these paintings show that you can do it, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you just need to know the right tools, right? So I wanted to show you one more piece that I did and talk about the finishing touches. This piece right here is also of the sea, right? But it's a different view, right? It's a different location for sure. It's it actually shows the same horizon line, right? It shows the foreground and it shows the background, right? Up here, all the background space. But it has another element. It has this lighthouse, right? So I drew the lighthouse, I added some rocks here in the foreground, I focused on the water that was closest to us, the viewer, right? And I also, on the horizon line, instead of showing my semicircle, showing the sun is setting or rising, I made it like it had already set or was just about to rise before we see that thing that looks like a circle, right? That ball of fire. And I simply just used the color to illustrate that or to show that. But back here on the horizon line, I put some purple looking mountains, right? Just a curved line like that to show mountains, and a little mountain ridge here again behind there. And that was it. So I just wanted to show it to you so that you could get some ideas for your own piece. Now listen, do you have to do whatever I say you have to do? I hope that you know that you don't. The only thing that I do is show you techniques, show you the artist tools and how we apply them, and give you ideas by showing you other people's work, right? Whether they're famous or not. Right? And so I just wanted to give you those ideas so that if you want to today, you can add a few more elements or a few more parts to your seascape. Or if you look at it and you think, nope, I'm good, I can't add anything else, then you're happy with it, you're done. But if I were you, I wouldn't just say, oh no, I'm just leaving it, I'm done. Because then you know what? It's really not everything that it could be. And you'll never know what it could be if you don't try, right? So I would love for you to work with me today and add a few finishing touches on your piece, okay? So let's see what we have done. I am super proud of you, by the way, for all of the artwork that you have sent me. You guys are working so hard, and it makes me so happy and so proud to be your teacher. And I can't wait to see them after today's video, right? To see what kind of finishing touches you added or what improvements or changes you've made. Because as artists, we're always making changes, right? Okay, so we have our piece here that we started to do in crayon. And I hope that everybody, I'm bringing you closer. I hope that everybody is in a good place today, like a good headspace. Remember that mindset matters. Don't think of things in a negative way. Always tell yourself that you can do it, even if it's hard, we can do it. Why? Because we don't quit, right? Right. Okay, so here's my pieces from last week, and they look the same. They just have different coloring here in the water. And the difference, the reason for that was that I was trying to show you Let me pull you a little closer. I was trying to show you that this ocean water I made using one crayon, just one. Because in case we only have one blue at home, we have no other choice but to use it, right? So darkest value, medium value, lightest value of the same blue. But this one, I decided to add a lighter blue, different blues or greens. I have a little bit of purple in there. You can mix all of those cool colors, right? The greens, the purples, the blues. You can combine them and blend them together. What I did want to show you today is that a lot of you are not transitioning, right? What does that mean? Transition is a big word for changing, right? So we need to change from this darkest value down to the lightest value, but we want to make it a smooth change. Why? Because the smoother the change is, the more realistic your water will appear. So let me slide this here, and I will try to show you a smoother transition. And the way that that's done is just by adding a little bit more color. And that's actually the wrong blue. I don't know what blue I was using there, but it doesn't matter. I'm just adding a little bit more color here, filling in those white spaces. So that it looks now dark, medium, light value, right? And that's what I was doing. If you had only one, you could add a green. Let me find a green here. You could add this green and make those different values also. Press very, very hard here for the darkest value, then medium value, and a lighter value. And the way that we make different values by using crayon or color pencil or oil pastel is by applying different pressure. Pressure to the crayon. When you press very, very hard with a lot of pressure, it makes the darkest value. When you don't press very hard, it makes the very lightest value possible, like that. And you can blend these colors. You can add more cool colors into your water. Like I said, whether it's greens or purples or blues, right? So we're gonna do that. Now, after I've done that, I'm gonna go back and I'm going to add a little bit of this tan sand, right, back under the water. So maybe I'm gonna take just this little bit of brown, and right here where I have a light value of the blue or the green or both, I'm gonna just fill in here on the left side of my curved sand line. I'm gonna add a little bit of brown or tan. That way it looks more realistic, like the water is covering over the sand and washing up on it. Okay. Okay. And some of you already did all of this, right? I don't know, because people work in different ways. Some people work faster than others, and that's fine. I also wanted to tell you that if you're using color pencils take a long time to color because the tip is very, very small and pointy. So it doesn't cover a lot of area or a lot of space. But you could take broken crayons. You could take broken crayons and rub them right on top of your color pencil colors, and that would fill in the white spaces if you wanted to, and it would do it a lot faster. We already know this trick because we've used it many times in the past. But you could do that. You could also do that with the yellows or the oranges for the sun rising or the sun setting. You can also use more than one material, right? You say mixed media. Very good, boys and girls. Mixed media means that you're mixing materials. So maybe I'm going to brighten this up by adding some marker. And maybe I'm going to use some marker right here on my horizon line. Yeah, maybe like that. Maybe I want to add a little orange, right? So whatever markers you have, maybe I want to put a little orange in there. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I don't like it. You could try it on another piece of paper and see if you like it. But you know what I really do want to add? I want to add some land back here, and maybe I'll put a little teeny tiny palm tree, like on an island, or maybe I can put the lighthouse on there, like I did. But if I'm gonna do that, then I want to use some brown and some green to put the land there, right? So maybe I'm going to use this brown, and I'm going to make a curved line. Curved, 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 and off the page. You can see that, right? Pull you a little closer. Okay, so there's my land far away, and I'm going to color it in. And I'm gonna add some green on top of it, but we have to think about how things really look and how they grow and how they appear to us, right? So first, on the ground, there's brown, right? Because there's dirt. And then what grows on top of the dirt? I can't hear you. Very good, the grass. The grass then grows on the dirt. So I'm going to first put a layer of brown and just color it in. And then I'm going to add some green, a green layer of color on top of this brown. And that is then going to help it look as though some grass is happening there. But I want you to see, working with crayon, like I said, is a little tricky because the wax makes it slippery, right? It's a smooth texture, and so it's hard for the green to go on top of the brown. But we can, since we're using mixed media, you can use oil pastel on top, or I'm gonna try this marker, and I'm gonna, oh, there we go. I'm gonna put some of this green marker, excuse me, on top of here. Maybe right here, closest to the bottom, or opposite. Maybe the grass is growing here, right? Yeah, that makes more sense. The grass is on the top, where I guess the trees would be growing and stuff. And then maybe down here, I can try to wipe some of this marker away, right, from on top of the crayon. And maybe down here is not so green because it's closest to the water. So maybe it becomes sandy there, right? Okay, that's interesting. You know what else you guys did? You guys also put some beautiful crabs and fish and sand castles. You can do that. You can do that with crayon. You can do that with marker. You could do it with anything. If I wanted to put it here, I could build a sand castle. And I would just make it a little bit darker along the bottom to show the shadows. And I don't know what this would look like, but I don't know. Let's see. whatever I want it to be, right? However I want it to look like, but I'm gonna put it a little darker value of brown down here to show a shadow and around. You guys had some great ideas. I'm glad that you enjoy the beach as much as me, as much as I do. And then here, I guess we could just try to blend those two browns together, right? To make it look like it's part of it and not just drawn on top of our sand. So I'm just coloring a little bit here and there. Maybe this one is darker because it's wet. And there's my sandcastle. Back here, I put a couple of palm trees on my land in the distance on the horizon line. So in the middle ground, I took a brown marker. You can use marker, you can use crayon. Remember, we're using mixed media. Put a couple of little lines coming up here, little curved lines, and then I make little curved lines coming off of it. Just a bunch of little lines, and from a distance, it will appear to look like palm trees, right? That makes it look like it's on an island somewhere, right? And then I can always go back in here. I'm always looking and critiquing my own work, right? I'm always thinking, what could I improve? Now, I added the sandcastle after I had colored in the sand, so I can see that the direction of my lines is like this, and it looks as though I just drew this castle on top. So I'm gonna go back in to my castle, and I'm going to fill it in, going in the opposite direction so that I fill in all of those white spaces and so that it looks like it is a solid mass of sand, right? We don't want to be able to see through it because then it won't look like it is on top of it and part of it. So now we have that so far. And one more thing, the reflection on the water, I know that I noticed you did that reflection. You made it. And it looked beautiful. But if you wanted it to look more realistic, instead of having the reflection come straight down like a number 11, right? Like this, the reflection actually comes out like a letter A. So I could take my yellow, marker, let's say, and I can do zigzags. Start at the top like a capital letter A and zigzag back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm just checking to see that you can see. Each time I'm making letter Z's, zigzagging. Each time I go down, I make my line a little bit wider. Let me show you on this scrap piece right here. Here is my, can you see that? I don't think you can see that. Let me do it in orange so that you can see. Let's pretend that this is my horizon line. Yeah, you can see that. And this is my semicircle of a sun that is rising or setting. Can you see that? Yes, okay. Here, like a capital letter A, you're just going to zigzag back and forth. And zigzagging in these curved lines helps to create the illusion that the light is reflected on the water. But each time I go down, I make my lines a little bit wider, right? So as you can see, I'm coming out, down, and make my lines longer, like this, okay? And that's going to appear to be a very realistic looking reflection. So let me just add a little bit of orange here and maybe a little bit more yellow out here. And that's a good reflection. And I did want to show you one more thing. Going back to the water and how we need to use value in the color of blue or green or a mixture of both. From the horizon line, the darkest value to the medium value to the lightest of value will create that illusion of a space. And having distance and going from very close to us in the foreground to very, very far away in the middle ground and the background as well. So what I was going to show you is that if you do have a marker and you color on top of your crayon with the marker, just a little bit like this. Let me check if you can see. Okay. Then you can take a paper towel or anything, a napkin, and in little circles you can rub, just like we do in school with chalk or with oil pastel, and you can rub it downward, and that creates a nice transition from dark to medium to light. And then at that point, if you have other hues of blue or colors of blue, you say hue. Good. Hue is another word for color. So if you have another hue of blue, you could also blend them. So if I put a little bit of this turquoise-ish blue or lighter blue of marker on top of the crayon, then I can blend it and they will mix together. It's not something that you have to do, of course, but it's something that maybe you want to experiment with. And like I said, the reason that works is because the wax from the crayon makes the surface of your paper very smooth and slippery, and then that's how the marker can be wiped away or blended in, okay? And that's it. You could also do the same thing with these clouds and the reflection of the clouds. You could come into these clouds a little bit more if you want to mix your media and use marker on top, or you could use orange and the yellow together. I know that you are wonderful artists, and I'm so, so happy that you are here with me every week. At least we're here on the computer, right? If we can't be in person yet, that's okay. We're still together here. So I want to thank you. Thank you, boys and girls, for joining me today, and I look forward to getting your artwork back, okay? Thanks a lot. Have a good week. Bye-bye.